Episode for higher juicy news. We ma ubibia akwaba had the latest hot nkwa era me bremo. Enuti so nya subscribe to channel dia bomodi as obe subscribe. The way I say we click the subscribe button no. Na wabele notification no. We understand video fufuru bi be upload no. When the first person onsa ebeka sa video afi we na like video no. Give us a thumbs up. Na fe shema wo fufuro na wenye bi hwe na wo hu ensem ekoso e wo Ghana memu ha no afe ye hwe ye ensem abeto ye no so yenti sa report ya ababeto dwa sansem mu yenti
Owura Mustafa Gbandi Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Deputy Director of Operations our presidency na me ne twetwe enkomo let's say
hello
now what to say now what you woman to Nika?
Mahamadu Bawumia. Ghana the council your home.
Your Ghana the council.
Who the water car on you or Daniel?
There be our Daniel. Now, Mamma Enra, the course so a war. Honorable Reverend Ntim Fordjour MP for some South, ranking the Committee of Defense and Interior of Parliament of Ghana. Sadi na uni movie.
David. And it's a Yamana BNI director. And me involved how investigations are run. But I think that I'm a senior member of government and the party. A Ghanaian. So I'm interested in fighting crimes. And that was one of the promises we made to the people of Ghana. We must be seen fulfilling that mandate. Much as we want to fight crimes, the processes and procedures for doing same ought and should be properly aligned with the rules of law, what is practicable, so that we don't set a bad precedent. Good leadership should not emulate bad leadership. Good leadership does what is different from what we know, and that is what we are advocating for.
And what can I say here? My minority in parliament ranking and some okokan ye fa eluprebia mienu eba ha na on suspicion say eba ha be ye den president kwaka se omunti committee no omu hwehwem supplement raid eba ye ene takrade anase central region ho no cocaine bi a omu baste ye ne de what do you make of it?
Oh, I think first of all, Reverend Ntim Fordjour, you see, because he's a pastor, I accord him that respect, not necessarily because a politician. He brought out a very key and important information of a woman it's not just for sake. On the ordinary Ghanaian, no, it's not good. Obia utukwan. Obia ufia manone Ghana ni uba ukurum. Ghana ni utukwa bruchiri. Sasa mwa Ntim Fordjour akano. Wonsu sanso ne doso. Bebre. Utukwa kuyuti. Wakame sadi ya ukwa asadi ya usha celebrity shusi. Na wadu hitru. Ni yesu ufi Ghana nti. Ni Ntim Fordjour akantino. You should never the cooking woman. It's so embarrassing. So therefore,
na me ba jombo senye breeding Kenya obi aka bibi sa okay 77 passes of cocaine and once
we know was not said by a mere communicator. It was said at the floor of parliament by a ranking member. Na bibisa no, and I was thankful, sir, Mr. President, his difference from President Akufo Addo who would have shielded.
But so him say airports are no.
President Akufo Addo would have shielded this because that was what has happened in the past. President Mahama says, please, I have received this information that a member of parliament has made him. I am aware that in the couple of weeks, no, cocaine phobia. And every year, immediately, state institutions should come together, collaborate with a member of parliament to ensure that proper investigations are done. Now, Omano Yajimunye and Ghana and transit point. Ghana Yajimunye clear that Ghana is not a transit point for cocaine. It also means that some individuals could do all of us that injustice, so that when the investigation is done, we'll get to know. Rather than Ntim Fordjour 300 call TV stations and call radio stations, he had sacrificed his parliamentary immunity and making statements outside the floor of parliament, continuing the allegations. He even went to the extent that he and Mr. Tax screen a presentation of tracking. Okay? Why won't he collaborate with state agencies? Yesterday's arrest of Kwabena. Yes, Ntim Fordjour call heading call down. He has to appear, he has to be arrested and collaborate with the investigation, or he has to volunteer to collaborate with the investigation. But you cannot go to anybody's house. Say, oh, Kwaku Annan no wear mask. If it's national security, cable. If it's defense and cable. Okay. NIB officer.
Yes, so mask.
No, NIB officer. Why would you wear a mask? You dilute your responsibility to show identity.
Okay.
And when you do that, it's wrong. It's lazy work. Very lazy work. People will say that is a state, is the executive who is not doing their work. But these are public institutions who are supposed to be doing their work professionally. Number two.
But one person for cameras no be able to photo near there.
And the from you are not qualified to be an NIB officer. You should resign. If I am going to arrest President Akufo Addo, he will see to me. I will respect him as a former president. I'll tell him, Mr. President, ABCD require that you present yourself for some investigation. If the president says I won't go, you will call for reinforcement and arrest him. But prima facie, fundamental, you cannot go and effect an arrest of a honorable member of parliament. Now we shall ask. We cannot dilute the conversation with reckless work. Reverend Ntim Fordjour should be properly arrested or invited to face and provide feather and butter particulars, but not in this shoddy way of doing things. What I say, you cannot go to anybody's house wearing a mask. That is not an acceptable standard of arrest. Particularly so that member of parliament, no.
Honorable. Mustafa, I don't hear Musa say. One small woman. Woman name as a much say. Munye way.
And I was smart, Colonel Okoya, the bonny, I was a woman. They said go and arrest somebody. Go and arrest somebody, not NIB officer. Who said Nika, a policeman, who said a friend Nika, shot, Nwako. After number two, what they are mask. Now they are showing him. Oh, if it is me, I will not allow myself to be arrested. I will not. It's simply not right. And this is not what the government or what the institution was asked to do. Somebody should have written a letter inviting Ntim Fordjour officially, or a call should have been placed to him for him to make himself available for investigation. So there are some arguments there. He is protected under the parliamentary privileges. No. After he made the statement, a very critical, a very important statement on the floor of Parliament, he came outside Parliament. Parliament is on recess. All business of Parliament is closed. Unless, of course, there's some responsibility that some members of Parliament are performing. He has gone to the public space to run these commentaries, and that he should be arrested as an ordinary person, but a ranking member or a person of some repute who should be accorded the needed courtesies in order for the substance of this is for the investigation to be carried out. Come what is here? The substance of it, we say, the president wants to know, have there been any iota of truth to what suspicion Reverend Ntim Fordjour is holding? Yes or no? Then we can take it up from there. President Mahama will not shield any crime. Okay? So, if an institution is going to do that, and I'm aware this morning that some requests have been made to Parliament and Parliament have not yet responded. That issue is neither here nor there. Reverend Ntim Fordjour has made this comment publicly. You know, he's gone out of Parliament, he's gone to Net2 TV, they've even tracked the plane. He has assumed the powers of national security, powers of narcotics control board, powers of NIB, or investigating on touch screen. So the institution should just invite him. If we needed to arrest him when he was doing the touch screen, why couldn't we arrest him there? He came to radio stations. Why couldn't we arrest him there? Reverend Ntim Fordjour drives in town. Why can't we track him and arrest him? Why should it be the case that Otinifie on any mouth now yasha mask now yako nti ukobon tuya? Now who takes responsibility? How do we know that you are the one who caused it? That is not President Mahama's regime. This is certainly a condemnable conduct on the officer who won march to Ntim Fordjour's house. And I can say, sir, it's a misconduct targeted at distorting the issues. And I will insist that the issues will be corrected and the right thing will be done. Somebody from NIB should place a call to Ntim Fordjour to report, or they should write a letter to him. If he fails to come, we will coordinate every force necessary to arrest him. Because can you imagine how America near to country here? Cocaine here, it was said by not the mean person, but a member of parliament near the politics.
And what can you say? Then they should have found a proper way of inviting him.
Yes, I insist that should be done. Kwame, we promised to do things different from what President Akufo Addo did.
Na mami radio you. Sa issue you nipa bia susu se enka womo be calling on the Speaker of Parliament to constitute a bipartisan a committee, bipartisan, a committee to look into it. And the binum see there be an independent body be a some of my raising woman abehum. Ojin say.
Well, you see, the problem is that minority wants to do politics. It's fair. We did the same thing to them. But we can't sacrifice the right way of doing things to join that free of conversation. Let the minority make their noise. Let us have our way. They should go to court. If Ntim Fordjour is arrested, let them go and make noise. If yesterday the right thing was
now can say munye things the way Akufo Addo did. Akufo Addo pension BBC.
Me say, and if it was the proper way of arresting this young man, and a minority for Nekugua, we will ransack all of them and arrest them because they are obstructing arrest.
Okay.
But it wasn't done properly because somebody wore mask, cannot be identified, wielding a gun, went to the place, okay. These are characteristics of President Akufo Addo's regime. These are Nyama Yehu of President Akufo Addo regime. No, President Akufo Addo ordinarily would have sat on this matter quietly.
I know. Example will be a dear.
Oh dear, baby,
why? Oh yeah, evidence.
Kojo International Airport wa.
Aye.
So aircraft me no be so why cocaine. Hey. One crofo di beba krum ha. One me pack ya alarm blue you mu Ghanaian aja plane.
Wow.
It's Kojo International Airport.
How is that also can be?
That be it's ho. No, we here allegations it's ho. It was a good thing. Investigation continued. What I say. But President Mahamadu Bawumia was saying he is instructing specifically national security with other state entities to, make sure that investigations are done. And I do understand why it took some time for us to get here. Because before you take an action as a state, you must first of all also do your own checks. Because it is the duty of state institutions to would have prevented anything criminal that will happen in this country. I'm talking here. Oko airport, national security, narcotics, NIB, NRP, aviation security, and sweatport, also handle cargo no. Na answer na play me beba ever land where airport no. Aviation should have authorized it, and then when they land, the ground men would have done further checks. Okay, so all these things wouldn't have happened before a plane boards or load and take off. All these checks would have been made. So it is a duty of the state to do its homework well, to satisfy itself on a normal procedure, standard airport management procedure. No, ya hwehwemu saa yehu bibia.
Anyone was a Ghana airport company. One so quiet. And their silence is too loud.
Debbie. The Ghana Airport Company is an institution under Ministry of Transport. The Ghana Airport Company is a management company. It manages several other institutions or it habitates them to do their work. So airport company is a mother company. Aviation security is there, national security is there, NIB is there, and narcotics also almost. Each of these entities has peculiar management responsibility as far as handling of aircraft and cargo management is concerned. Particularly to the extent say, the matter was specifically the president instructed that it should be a coordinated investigation collaborating with the whistleblower. The airport company cannot be talking. You have to collaborate. You and I do not know what has happened behind the scene.
Okay.
The cross-checkings. Just to make sure that the state has, on a normal day, every officer of the state they have done their work. Okay? But, satisfy the institutions there. On any normal routine, if I'm coming to OKFM, I need to go to the reception and book an ameboa. Then somebody takes me to Konamubabi Aushaho. So if something happens, they must first of all check so when the state satisfies itself with all of these processes, then it can invite the whistleblower to assist. But even before the state does that, the whistleblower was all over the place. Oye presentations, he is saying this, he is saying that. Damaging the reputation of the country on mere suspicion. So it's a matter before investigative bodies. Airport company cannot be investigating the matter in public or cannot be dealing with the matter in public. 3 days ago, they issued a clarification, a public statement clarifying that one, these are the positions of Ghana Airport Company. Their own checks have not revealed anything close to what Reverend Ntim Fordjour is suspecting. So therefore, don't you think that it becomes now very clear that one way or the other, Reverend Ntim Fordjour would have been making a legitimate statement in good faith, or his statements were malicious and of bad faith, politically intended to tarnish the reputation of the government and the country. So therefore, he does not have the option to just volunteer. If he fails to volunteer to cooperate, the institutions of state are mandated by law to arrest him. And I'm saying that in executing the arrest, the proper thing should be done. The proper thing was to invite him. And an invitation can be a phone call or a written letter officially served on Reverend Ntim Fordjour. So if yesterday, when the BNI officers went there, was to just invite him to say, oh, report on your own to NIB at this time, and Reverend Ntim Fordjour fails to go, national security, but that was not the case. What diluted the rightful way of arresting Ntim Fordjour yesterday was the presence of an officer wearing a mask. Why? We condemned this act in 2020-2019 when we were living in a country under a human rights lawyer who did not have respect for fundamental human rights. He abused everybody. They did what they want. President Mahama is doing a different thing. State officials must be seen to be responsible in the discharge of their work. So I'm saying that Reverend Ntim Fordjour would have to be invited. He has to be arrested. He will be arrested. And if he refuses...
Oh, and a pay
yes, that's what I'm saying. They should take him. So I don't understand what the minority noise is about. We can't treat this issue like that. Oh, and state is doing a self-start. One officer has misbehaved. That officer should be held responsible. You see, they shouldn't say, Abino, President Mahama's government will not persecute anybody. I mean, and I can tell you, we will not do that. And me, I will not support anything like that.
Okay.
But if you are wrong, tomorrow if Kwame Nkrumah Secretariat breaks a law, President Mahama's regime will coordinate with state agencies, you will be arrested. And we should allow institutions to function. When it's wrong, let's say it is wrong. When it is right, let's say it is wrong. It is right. I'm condemning the style with which these masked men went to the place. And I'm saying that he has to be arrested properly. It will not dilute the issues.
Mate, Mamena was an administration and Famon.
Well, so when we're ready with those insights, we'll record them for you. But I'm a Pratt. What's since the incident yesterday, the line of communication at the presidency and then in government?
Well, I mean, I'm observing all of this, like you are, Roland. I'm watching this drama, unfold like every other Ghanaian, and honestly, I'm in disbelief, by the way things are going. I just heard, the Honorable Afenyo Markin, and I haven't seen this video. I'm watching this video for the first time. Say that they want to uphold truth and democracy. That's what he just said, right? They want to uphold truth and democracy. Well, would they please just do that? Would they please just uphold truth and democracy, right? You've made such damning allegations against the government and by extension the state. And I get very uneasy when people say, oh, he just sort of brought it out there. No, he didn't. it wasn't questions that he raised. No, that's not what he did. He made a very categorical, statement that he has chosen to back continuously since he made the first one. I mean, so after the press conference, he could have backtracked when it was pointed out to him the gravity of what he had just done. He could have quickly done that. I think he did in a way, because then he took it to Parliament now asking for explanation. But his personal utterances, and the posturing of the MPP as a political party and as a caucus in Parliament could have shown us a certain responsibility that, okay, we may have made a blunder, in our choice of words and in the way that we chose to express when we called the press conference. But upon hindsight, let's temper, the politics with responsibility and be responsible lawmakers. But no, go and read his tweets since then. Every tweet the Reverend Ntim Fordjour has made since this is cocaine buying, cocaine spokesperson, cocaine.
So what's your point? That is just mere politicking?
I'm not even there yet. My point is that when you do that, it's not a question of allegation. It's not a question of questions. When you categorically insist that the government and the whole country is involved in drug trafficking and money laundering, and you have somebody, it goes as far as His Excellency the President of the country come and say, oh wow, I need all of the state investigative agencies to collaborate with you so we get to the truth of this matter. That he has zero tolerance for drug trafficking and for money laundering. He says he won't even allow a transit point, not the end recipients of the cocaine and the money laundering activities, even as a transit point. He doesn't want Ghana even as a transit point. So please, all investigative bodies collaborate with a member of Parliament, the lawmaker, legislator, and let's get to the bottom of this. You want to uphold truth and democracy. Investigative bodies have come to you. Let's go and uphold truth and democracy. And you hold a press conference shielded by your fellow MPs, and you say, no, we will not collaborate, but we want to uphold truth and democracy. Are we going to do this spiritually? This holding of truth and democracy,
he should have appealed himself.
Is it going to be done spiritually? Are we going to do it telepathically?
The response they had at the time is that there are processes and procedures if you want to invite a member of Parliament to come and then give evidence or collaborate with state agencies in this vexed matter.
Okay, did he know that when he called the press conference? Did he know about processes? Did he know about processes and procedures in dealing with these matters when he called a press conference? When subsequent to that he started announcing exposés. Come with me to this studio for exposé number 1, exposé number 2, did he know about processes? And you see, the MPP needs to understand, right, that yes, opposition is important. I will never sit here and speak about a government that has no opposition. Ghana will not benefit from a situation like that. Opposition is important. We need a responsible opposition to keep this government on its toes, to check all of us, to keep all of us, acting responsibly, being accountable to the people of this country. But you see, an irresponsible opposition is a danger. It's a danger to this country. Look at the conversation we are having this morning. Look at the publicity, the light we are shining on ourselves as a country. Does the MPP understand the implications of what is happening? You're not accusing an individual of cocaine. You are accusing a whole state, the whole state apparatus, and for what? So that you can have your moments under the light. So that you can have your moments of glory, of exposés, of jama'ing, if there's anything like that, where you rabble rouse your people to your house and you call press conferences and you sing and you listen. It's a new era, and it's so unfortunate that as a political party they are choosing to go down this rabbit hole. Because all of this will settle, right? We have the proper agencies coming out to explain that we have gone on these aircrafts. We have checked these aircrafts. There's no cocaine on there. No money laundering is involved. you see, for me, and I said this somewhere else yesterday, all of these exposés will end, right? So right now we are Nikki picking. We are saying that, oh, the color of the aircraft in this picture is wrong. That it's a different color here. We are saying that, oh, the aircraft did not go through this route. It went through that route. Nitty-picking. I'm saying that tomorrow they will come up with another expose that says, well, the pilot wore a yellow shirt. He did not wear a brown shirt. And we'll do all of these things. But you see, we will finally get to the point where you have to prove that there was cocaine and money laundering.
It will be done.
All of this will settle.
You mean
down.
you'll be called before the investigative agencies?
I mean, are we going to leave this hanging? Do you want this left hanging on the conscience of this country? No. As a Ghanaian, I need to see finality to this matter. You can have all the press conferences that you want, but you see, all of this will settle. And then when it settles, what's the MPP going to say about his conduct? Forget the Reverend Ntim Fordjour. I think for him, he's loving the attention. He's loving all the exposés it's giving him. He's enjoying his moments of glory, which is great. Politicians love that. Good on him. But when the dust settles, where does this leave us? Where is responsible and accountable opposition? Because perhaps the MPP doesn't understand. For me, it's not about winning elections, right? And this has...
He said he's playing his oversight role.
This?
Yeah, he said, well...
This?
He's raised a concern, and so he expects the security agencies to come up with evidence to support, because that's a suspicion. So
tomorrow, as a private citizen, I wake up in the morning, I say, oh, I saw Roland walk into TV3 this morning. Roland must be selling tomatoes in the studio. And then when you ask me for proof, I say, well, Roland, you prove it. I am exercising my duties as a citizen of this country. I'm a whistleblower. I've blown a whistle. Right? You give us nothing and say, I've given some facts. You give us essentially nothing. The fact that the plane landed here, nobody's contesting. The fact that, you know, it did not come again, I've said this, to carry out its core function, you know, as an airmail, that's not what it came to do. We've been given credible information as to what happened. The Honorable Felix Kwachu has explained exactly what the situation was. Still, you say, no, these are my facts. Now, you, the one that I'm accusing, come and prove it. In which law book do we use the exception to the rule as the rule? Where you the one that's alleging, you are saying, no, I won't prove. You, the one I'm accusing.
Well, he says
you come and prove.
He's clothed with the powers to do that.
This is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
All of this is ridiculous.
So, having observed all this, now culminating in that incident at his house yesterday, would you say, or do you think, that the minority and the embattled member of parliament are overly sensationalizing this, or perhaps too much aggrandizing the role that they have to play, and then the effort, so to speak, being the response that they are playing oversight roles in this matter?
Okay. Anyway, good morning.
Morning.
We are politicians, and politicians, or some politicians, are want to theatrics and everything, but the security agencies have given them the opportunity to do that. So they have been given the platform and they are doing the theatrics, and we are all watching. But as a matter of curiosity, he's a reverend for which church? His own private church?
I think he has his own church also, or Victory.
Okay,
church, yeah.
so
but he's a reverend.
He's a reverend.
Victory Bible Church.
Okay.
I hope not.
Are you a member of Victory Bible Church?
Oh, I mean,
well, look for it. I'll look for
my
his
assembly.
It is his own church. Okay, that's fine. I just curiosity.
What's that got to do with? Because?
Oh, you're
questioning his character?
Maybe I'm not questioning his character. I mean, I am questioning the posturing. Maybe I have a certain idea of how men of the cloth are supposed to behave in certain ways, and maybe in the normal curve, he's not behaving in the way that you would think that supposedly a man of God should behave. Because I would think, and this is why I think, that if, as he's a ranking member for Defense and Interior, if he found something that is wrong, that goes to tarnish the image of this country, it's not about the politics, but the image of this country, the first thing to do would not to be sit at a press conference and blare things out. you know, he has a certain privileged position of being a member of parliament, of being the ranking member for defense and interior. I'm sure that he could always ask to meet the security agencies and say, look, this has come to my attention and it doesn't do well for the image of this country, you know, and maybe do that and nothing happens. Then you can say that, one, I want to take another step to ensure that something happens. Can he tell us for a fact that he took the quiet route of, you know, safeguarding the image of this country? We have a lot of politicians who really don't care about this country. All theirs is to do some grandstanding and, you know, cloak it and make it look.
You think that's what he's doing?
I haven't said, I'm saying my thing. So let me say my thing.
Yes, please.
And let people.
I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Let people judge for themselves.
Okay, sir.
Whether this is some behavior of somebody who has love for this country and takes a certain action, because you try certain measures and if it doesn't work, then you said, look, now I'm going to go public with it because I have tried the quiet way, I have tried to save this country's face and things like that, and I'm not getting the response that is required, so maybe let me if he's done that, fine, but has he done that? I don't believe so, because the way he's hopping from station to station, he would have said that, look, I would love for this country and ensuring this, and I quietly went to the security agencies, I said this and nobody took notice of it, and this has forced me to come out to do what I am doing. None of that. Okay. I've heard him, you know, sometimes borderline trying to accuse even the president, you know, of certain complicity in this thing, and I'm like, wow, really, you know. But you see, we have allowed our politics to degenerate to this point sometimes, you know, and we get the politicians doing the grandstanding and the theatrics, and maybe because we encourage it and we you know, I don't know, it goes on and on and on, and because of that, certain people have just switched off and don't want to even know.
Very apathetic.
Very apathetic.
So the politics of the day.
To the politics of the day, and you look, you can pick 10 Ghanaians off the street and ask them that. So what do you think is happening? What are the current things? And they're like, we don't care. We're going about our normal businesses, because the grandstanding, and we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't allow that to happen. But coming back to
the incident yesterday.
The incident yesterday, I think that the security forces could have also found a better way of going about it. We know that members of parliament have certain privileges. It's not a right, it's a privilege. Okay, they have certain privileges that you have to go through if you want to do that. This person, he's not about to run away. He's a member of parliament, he's not about to run away. We don't need the Gestapo type of thing that went on. Okay, go through the normal process. He's not about to run away. Go through, if you have to go through the speaker, write a letter to the speaker, have to interview him in the speaker's things, do the things that everybody would also look at you and say, look, they have done it by the book. And because they have done it by the book, and this person, it actually shows up the person, if the person is hollow. You get it, because when you go by the book, because when you do incidences like this, then this becomes the topic. Instead of the person's behavior and the thing that the person is doing, then this becomes the topic, and then we are like, oh, as security people, we've had enough of that kind of nonsense. You were looking for the tape.
No, I'll recall it for you after.
Yeah, the tape.
Or should you?
No, with this mass.
Please let me record them for so that you can continue.
Okay.
So that said,
I'm not landed there, but our security agents, that show of brutal force,
bravado.
Yeah, it's
British.
It is British. It is
Gestapo-like.
Gestapo-like. It's unhealthy.
Revolutionary style.
Those who actually, it's unnecessary. Those who actually have power. Power is quiet and power is silent, and power, you know, is menacing in its silence. Look, if they had done the right thing quietly, and they had actually gone through the procedure quietly. If this man, this member of parliament, given that maybe he is not speaking the truth, I don't know, you understand, it would have been even more fearful for him. He would have even been more afraid, because it would have shown up his character, it would have shown that he's not. This kind of thing, he's going to hide behind it and do more, and probably still be hopping from station.
You mean instead of the substance of what he said, whether it's true or untrue, becoming the subject, this one rather has become the subject.
Has become the subject. And then we're going to go off in the tangent, and you find people in the street who are not going to listen to the substance of the matter and are going to go more on the tangent of it. Right now, I'm sure if you pick 10 MPP, what do you call it? Food soldiers or apparatus, they don't even know. They say, oh, we cocaine for me now. They're not even going to rationalize it. You understand? So I think that, like we said, power can be menacing when it is silent and when you do it by the book. We should move away from this Gestapo, British, Neanderthal kind of behavior and go to the more subtle, more powerful way of doing things, and do it by the book. You understand? So that nobody has the opportunity to do this kind of grandstanding. You know, some people want to launch their political careers with this. You get it? So that they can say that, oh, when there was a crisis, you saw me and
So this is grandstanding?
Well, I mean,
outdooring of a Messiah?
That is going to happen. But given that some people say they are men of God, they will probably want to see that.
Yo, it for winning and someone about beto yepuno so Mikao says so when you subscribe to channel idea bomodi say subscribe now I like video to give us a thumbs up nafi share ma wo foforo so na we be here now and somewhere koso ewo Ghana memo also wait me actually wadwen afa yes some we nyira ho ewo comment box ni mu mo beti menka bio in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.